Hello everyone, how are you all doing? So today I'm doing a little bit of a different video. Because the lovely Finlay Robertson, who played Larry Nightingale in Blink and other appearances in the Whoniverse, agreed to do an interview with this ginger mug. And he talked about his favourite scenes to film, his experience on set, and his approach to acting Larry, amongst many other topics. It's a class interview, please enjoy. Oh, and subscribe to the channel because I like subscribers. So today I am honoured to be joined by the absolutely lovely Finlay Robertson. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm knee deep in housework and tidying up and moving things around and unpacking and doing domestic stuff, which is exhausting and requires me not to have got out of bed properly this morning. Hence, I look a little bit bedraggled. But yes,
we
all
can forgive
good.
you. I think you look absolutely lovely.
Very kind.
So obviously your main appearance in Doctor Who was in Blink in 2007. Now,
That's right.
I presume you know how well beloved Blink has become in Doctor Who, but how did was there ever a feeling on set that you realised that you were creating something special?
No, not really. I think the first time I really sense of it was when I went and did a thing called ADR, which is additional dialogue recording. So you shoot it and then you go into a studio and then you just pick up the bit of dialogue that I were either missed or that need to be added in order to make the show work. And I watched it on quite a big screen and I suddenly went, oh, right. Okay. And then I got a sense there just from basically the way it had been put together with angels and stuff. That was really exciting. And then I watched the whole episode for the very first time all the way through with casting director Andy Pryor for a BBC interview. And we watched it and we commentated at the same time and we talked about it with the BBC execs who'd made it. It was only then when I suppose when I saw it for the first time that I realized, wow, this is going to be something. And I knew from the script it was just a clever, simple idea, but the way Hetty MacDonald directed it just really came to life. And then the first Saturday it aired, I remember I was doing a theatre show, and then this was kind of pre-Twitter, really, or I hadn't joined Twitter at that stage. But there was just lots of people calling me up saying, wow, it was great. So yeah, that was when it kind of dawned on me that this was quite a big deal.
Did you end up reading the whole script before you filmed it, or did you just focus on your bits? Because
Oh
obviously,
no, I read the whole thing. There was a read through in Wales, but I don't think I was available, so I didn't go up for that. There was a read through in Cardiff. And then obviously I read the whole thing. I mean, you should as an actor read the whole thing, even if I mean, nowadays there's lots of times you will get a whole episode for context, but there's a lot more, certainly before you get the role. There's a lot of things sometimes you need to sign, or sometimes things will back from you. But yeah, I read the whole thing and it kind of made sense. But again, until you see it on the big screen, you don't fully realize how it all fits together and how it will come together with the just with the angels, really, and then with the music and the way that Hetty directed it.
were you a fan of Doctor Who before you took on this role? I mean,
Yeah, I wasn't. I was a kid.
Mm.
Baker was my sort of first Doctor Who, and I remember Peter Davison as well. And then after that, I got a bit older and I kind of drifted away from it. But it was a huge part of my the Tom Baker. I remember being frightened by some of the episodes in the Tom Baker show, and there was something about his personality that appealed to me, or some sort of connection. I remember being quite sad and not being able to get my head around the idea of regeneration, because all I kind of would focus on, well, Tom Baker's died, so he's not coming back. I've got to do this new guy. And the thing that's funny is that I've worked with both Tom Baker and Peter Davison. I was away with Peter Davison about 8 years ago, playing his son, and I've worked with Tom Baker, Big Finish. And yes, it's very, very strange how these childhood characters can then come along later in your life. But I wasn't following it massively, after the Christopher Eccleston. I wasn't in my, field of vision until, I got this and I read the script. And then I was aware of what David Tennant was doing, and aware he was very kind of cool, and there was a real buzz around him, and the, what he was doing. And he was the one who really was injecting a kind of geisty energy and really making the character his own, and the character Doctor being sort of at the forefront of the show. So that was what I had sort of walking into it.
Yeah, I mean, experiencing both acting with Tom Baker and Peter Davison, I mean, can you pick a favorite between those two experiences?
Well, I think that the Tom Baker, just because of what he represented in terms of my childhood, and anecdotes and the stories, I think were all part of that. And Peter was lovely though, and we did a play. It was very successful, and working with Tom was because he has a mystique around him, and he has an energy around him that's really, really exciting.
So going back to the character of Larry, when reading this script, how do you as an actor approach that kind of role?
Your sort of gut instinct is kind of to play the scenes, and he's shambolic, and the way he appears initially, the first time we meet him, very kind of chaotic, and what he's into in terms of that kind of what you might call kind of nerdy stuff with music and films, and his big mission. That's something I could sort of easily kind of access or connect to. And then I remember going to a wardrobe thing where basically you talk to the designers about what sort of clothes your character should wear. And it was in a place in northwest London. And I remember getting there, and the wardrobe guy said, "Well, it's basically he's Shaggy from Scooby-Doo." I went, right, fine. So once again, I got this a lot earlier in my career. I'd play characters who were scruffy. There's always a thing as an actor where you sometimes have a chance to take hats of wardrobe, and there was like, it's not gonna happen with this guy. It's just kind of secondhand tops and kind of scruff bag jeans, and wearing the clothes is not Larry's priority in his life. So yeah, that was. And then with the accent, I was told to match the accent of my sister, and I remember, so we've got a Manchester accent. How am I going to sound like Lucy? And basically, while I was in Cardiff, they were screening or repeating the first time in ages. Maybe it's like a 10-year anniversary. The TV show This Life, which was featured Andrew Lincoln playing Egg, and it was on every night. And I just sort of got into the idea of mimicking his accent. He was the kind of the vocal kind of input into what I was doing. So yeah, it's kind of how it all kind of fits together. I think when making characters, for me anyway, I'm a bit of a kind of a magpie, and I'll take a bit here and a bit there and a bit there, and then mix it all together. And it coming from, the script, obviously, and what you've got in the middle of the text. But yeah, those were how I made him.
In terms of your favorite bits and your favorite scenes to film, did you as an actor lean more towards your more dialogue-y scenes with Harry, or was it more your like the actiony bits with the Weeping Angels? Because I presume filming those Weeping Angel bits are much more tedious than we end up seeing on screen.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mixture of those bits they had. I remember they had 3 or maybe 4 performers who were all in makeup move, who were proper. I think they did a lot of either dance or circus skills, and so they knew how to hold their body. They're incredibly strong, incredibly precise. Plus a lot of statues kind of lying around, and that was a sense of, it's kind of made it cut, obviously, because they don't move. We don't see them move ever. So yeah, it was a bit stand here, do this, stand here, do this, and it'll all be cut together. I mean, the dialogue stuff was the fun stuff. I mean, that was for the scene in the back of the record store was a lot of to do, and working with Carey was lovely. And then the huge scene end was just pages and pages in dialogue, which I think both of us were a little bit nervous in terms of the amount we had to learn. But we got through it, and yeah, it was fun.
Do you have one favorite memory on set, or is it that record scene?
Also, I really enjoyed the bit right at the very end, because the thing is, we hardly got to see David Tennant and Freema. We met them at the beginning, and then I was around there when they were shooting the bit where he was doing the stuff on the tape, the message, and said hello there. And then we filmed our stuff, and then it was towards the end of the 2 weeks that we shot the bit at the end. Suddenly you realize, oh, this is a really big deal. You've got that he's kind of like a pop star, David. He's got to kind of hide from all these people trying to take photos. And this was before, the quality of the cameras on phones was that good. And we would you would just see him kind of be mobbed. The minute he was outside, people would be giving him things and wanting to say hi to him and all that sort of stuff. And you kind of got a sense of, oh, right, this is a really big deal. I sneaked a couple of cheeky photos inside the TARDIS. It was all very, very strict. I didn't realize how strict it was going to. But the wardrobe department, who are meant to, at the end of every scene, or every shot, basically every slate, if you will, take a photo of what you're wearing, etc., just so they can match it for later on. Did a couple that were a little bit wide, just so I could have, and again, it was all printed out on Polaroids, rather than staying on the phone. So I could take, home a couple of photos of me inside the TARDIS, which was the dream.
Now you have come back to the Hooniverse in many different ways. Which is your favourite appearance, kind of coming back into different versions of Doctor Who? And would you be willing to do it again?
Oh yeah, definitely. Man, I did a thing, a video game called The Lonely Assassins, where Larry kind of reappeared, and that was lovely. Yeah, I would love to. I think Carey's busy doing other things, and I think that would make it maybe a little bit hard if Larry came back on his own. But I would love to, and it's just, and the thing I've said, the reason is you're dealing with a community who love the characters and who love the world, and that, I mean, it meant a lot to me when I was little, but seeing it and went to conventions or whatever, and seeing how much it means to people, the characters, the worlds that they've created, it really does feel an honor. Yeah, it's a real privilege, but that's the word I'm looking for. It's a real privilege to play the character and be part of that world, and I would love to, and I'm very excited to see what the new Doctor is like, and how the worlds are created this time around. I'm very excited.
That's brilliant. Now, as just a final question, because a lot of these questions has been geared towards towards acting, because I'm also, as well as a massive Doctor Who fan, an actor in training, and I would be genuinely curious to see if you were to give aspiring actors and actors in training your maybe not lots of tips, but say your big tip. What would you say it would be?
I think, yeah, I teach screen acting. I talk a lot about the 3 golden rules of acting, which be on time, do your work, learn your lines or know you're meeting and why you're meeting them, and don't be a dick, don't be rude, don't be tough to work with. In terms of kind of generally speaking, it's finding the tribes and the work that you respond to, and work out that those people over there are making that. How am I going to make that? Whether it's you love British films, or you love British television, or you love theatre, or you love fringe theatre, or you love whatever it is. Because the important thing about being an actor is a sense of community, and I think it's the thing that keeps you sane, and is also the resource that you learn from the most. So with that in mind, find your tribe, find your place, find people who, and then make it yourself. If you can't be seen for the stuff you want to make, then roll up your sleeves and do it yourself. Countless examples through history of people who've done that. But yeah, also remember that it's not everything in your life. You need to be a good actor, you need to be a happy person, so you need to be a good friend, or you're somebody's brother or somebody's sister, or somebody's boyfriend or girlfriend, and life is more important than this. I think it's Sam Neill who said, I'm not an actor, I'm a guy who acts. And I think that's a really good way to kind of stay sane. But yeah, my main tip is find out what inspires you, and then work out how you can be making the kind of work or working with those people. Yeah, those are my tips.
That is genuinely a lovely note to end it on. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, click like. If you want me to do more of these, let me know by hitting that damn subscribe button. Punch it. Knock it out. And there's another video here, because you should watch it. So watch it! I'm sorry for shouting at you. You're all lovely, and I didn't mean to shout at you. Unless you haven't subscribed, then you're a knob. Can I call you knobs? Yes, I bloody can.